Well, it's been almost exactly 2 years, and finally, the pandemic is dissipating. We made our choices, we learned our lessons, and it's a new dawn. And it's a new season for the year 2022, and a new time for all of us to embrace new life, new opportunities, new abundance. And while we balance our care and genuine prayer for peace in the awareness of a world that still includes unthinkable tragedy and sorrow and even war, we also are grateful for how blessed we are. And so let us use this spring of 2022 to take everything that we've learned, clear the past, and move forward in gratitude for the freedom that we have, for the blessings of our lives, for the opportunity to come together again in community, online, and yes, in person. We are all part of the awakening world, and we all have the roles that we're playing as individuals and collectively. We are the imaginal cells finding each other to create a beautiful, incredible butterfly out of the old paradigm. So welcome to spring of 2022. Welcome to the awakening world.
We come from the same source, a powerful love force. We're coming together, stronger than ever, not divided. We come from the same source, a powerful love force. We're coming together, hear the call, you are invited. We come from the same source, a powerful love force.
Welcome everybody to the Awakening World and our celebration of Saturday Night Alive and 2 years of the Global Peace Tribe. I'm Love Coach Scott Catamas, and we're really grateful that all of you are watching, including anybody who's watching the replay, the recording. More and more people are watching the replays, so you are also part of our consciousness and our appreciation. And for anybody who's watching on Facebook or Alan Steinfeld's YouTube channel, come on into our Zoom room. It's a great way to connect more easily with you. We're going to have a very dynamic chat going on because we have so many amazing presenters. So it's really, really easy to do that. You can come into the Zoom room by going to globalpeacetribe.com. That's globalpeacetribe.com. And register. And you can register for free. Just put in the promo code New Friend. globalpeacetribe.com, New Friend. Come on into our Zoom room. You're going to get the links, by the way, to all of our shows for the next 3 months. The Awakening World is on Friday nights, Saturday nights, and Sunday mornings. So there's a lot. Now, most of you have been coming for quite a while, and I want to take you on a little trip down memory lane and see, as you watch this next 40-second video, if it brings back some memories for you.
We shall be the peacemakers. We shall be the peacemakers. And we shall become the children of love. The children of love. The children of love. Children of
Well, that's what we are celebrating. We are celebrating 2 years since Debra, Giusti, and I began Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe. And we've got an amazing group of friends that have come to celebrate with us, amazing presenters, and to tell you all about tonight's show. She's back. Here's Debra Giusti.
Thank you, Scott. And yes, it's so great to be back again. It was such an amazing time we all spent together. And I want to personally welcome you to our Saturday Night Alive second anniversary show and 111 weeks of the Global Peace Tribe offering. And it's so great to feel the energy here and feel the love. And we have another incredible show for you. And we are going to celebrate tonight on a very sacred weekend, which is honoring Easter and the spirit of resurrection. And we've been on quite a journey together. As you know, Saturday Night Alive began right as the pandemic shutdown began. It was like a clear assignment from Spirit to me and Scott that it was important to gather the awakening souls all over the world and keep the high vibes, the higher wisdom, the new consciousness, and especially love circulating and flowing through all of us during what was going to be very challenging times. And Scott and I truly gave our complete focus, our lives, energy to creating these shows. We had a lot of help from Spirit. And it was an amazing experience. And I know a lot of you were there show after show. Every show was amazing. And it really came together on a level because we reached out and as the Global Peace Tribe invited a lot of people to come co-create with us. And that's a big point of what's happening in the world now is we're all working together. It's not us doing things by ourselves. We're working in high collaboration to bring forward the special new realities that we want to create in this world. And many prominent keynotes that we have loved, beloved keynotes, when we invited them to come on, they said yes, because they also wanted to help. They want to be part of connecting people and keeping the vibe high so that we can get through this birth canal together that we're all working towards to create the new earth. So Scott and I produced 90 shows for you. And we had an incredible lineup of top speakers, brilliant musicians, poet, dancers, comedy, magic, all bringing us back together. So we're here tonight to celebrate our 2-year mark of the Global Peace Tribe. That includes Saturday Night Alive, The Awakening World, Scott's Straight Talk, Sacred Sunday Show, and incredible events that we are now producing as Global Peace Tribe Presents. So we feel it's a new beginning now. Things are starting to open up, but they're not the same. And we're not going to go back to the same old, same old. So it's time to explore. What have we learned from the challenges, the losses, the new opportunities? How have we transformed our bodies, minds, spirit, relationships, and our communities? And especially what's next as we continue to align in high collaboration to create the new earth. And so when we went to create the show, we invited some of our favorite presenters, musicians and comedians, and many of them said yes, and they're going to be here with you tonight. So I'm going to introduce them now. I want to introduce Neale Donald Walsh, who was with us several times. You know him for sure. He's a modern day spiritual messenger whose words continue to touch in profound ways. He's written 29 books on spirituality. One of his best known bestsellers was Conversations with God. Thank you, Neale, for joining us again tonight.
Gosh, I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Wonderful. And again, one of our favorite speakers, Matt Kahn, is with us here tonight live. He's the author of best-selling books, Whatever Arises. Love that. Everything is here. Well known as a spiritual teacher and empathic healer who served the awakening and evolution of all sentient beings. And we love Matt. Thank you for being with us, Matt.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
And we're really happy to have Gary Zukov. He's the best-selling author, 4 consecutive New York Times bestseller. He's best known for his Seed of the Soul. So he's going to be with us tonight. We also are going to have Marianne Williamson. We were so graced to have her come on many times during the times, especially like right after the elections, where we brought people together and to unify again beyond polarity. You know her as a best-selling author, political activist, and spiritual thought leader, serving us for over 3 decades. She'll be on towards the end of the show. We're also really happy to have the TwinRay, amazing spiritual teachers, Shekinah and Sananda, who are here to bring forth wisdom teachings from the ancient spiritual science that prepares the physical body to bring in enlightenment and liberation. They have a modern day spiritual academy for all those souls who are looking towards being with us during the Great Awakening. So we're so happy to have them with us live. We're also happy to have Marcy Scheimoff. She's a New York Times bestseller of the book Happiness for No Reason, and she is a world-renowned transformational teacher and an expert on happiness. And we've got some great music. We're going to be featuring Uttal, who is a Grammy nominee, kirtan artist, multi-instrumentalist, and vocalist. And he's considered the pioneer of music that brought together bhakti, and he performs in communities all over the world. And we're also happy to have live Kristin Hoffmann, who has taken over and working with Scott so incredibly to bring forward some of the Awakening World shows. She's an incredible musician, Juilliard trained singer with an extraordinary artistic range, but also a missionary of the awakening in all levels in all what she does. So happy to have you with us, Kristin. And we will be having Nina Grae, who Scott and I both met during the Saturday Night Live. She's an amazing singer-songwriter, committed to creating music with consciousness, love-centric messages, and incredible, beautiful musician. And she's going to start the show for us. And we are happy to have Swami Beyondananda. Who would it be without some laughter and comedy? Swami is the alter ego of the humorist and performer Steve Behrman, and he's the spokesperson for a new non-religion, fundamentalism, who brings truth into humor.
Thank you. Fundamentalism, accent on fun.
Fundamentalism. Thank you, Swami. And we're happy to introduce you tonight, Tanjila Islam. She is the creator of Soul Search. She's a longtime spiritual seeker, global adventurer, entrepreneur, multidimensional guide. She's founded several technology businesses around the globe, and she is going to be sharing with us a special gift to the Global Peace Tribe. And I'll talk a little bit about that now. The gift we have is the shows that we do are amazing, and it connects everyone together. But people have been asking us, how can we continue to connect people? And so we're going to be presenting to you tonight a new platform called Soul Search, which will allow everyone on the Global Peace Tribe to connect with spiritual seekers, consciousness, and connecting people all over the world with teachings and modalities and communications, so we can all be connected beyond being on these shows together. And we're going to tell you a lot about that tonight. Thank you, Tanjila, for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Blessings to everyone. Excited to be here.
Great. And so it's going to be an amazing show. Stick with us. And we also have an after show. Correct, Scott?
Yeah, it's such an amazing number of people that showed up. So you're going to make a lot of popcorn, sit back, because we've got a full evening for you. We've got an amazing main show, as you just heard. But then we also have our after show. And guess what? Jay Mayer is back. So we're going to get to see Jay. And of course, where Jay is, luckily, usually Jan is also close by. And so Jay and Jan are going to be with us tonight for the after show. And I'm really happy about that again. And then we also have really enjoyed Omashar, who has flown back early from England to be with us. So Omashar is going to play some music. So we're certainly excited about that. And Fanny and Vigari will be joining us again. And we also are going to have a couple of really powerful videos that we're going to play with. You're going to get a chance to see Valerie Romanoff, Johanna Beekman, and a beautiful, poignant video of Kristin Hoffmann when she was playing music for one of our fire victims during fundraising. And then finally, I did a special pre-recorded video with grandmother Flordemayo. We did a pre-record together a few days ago, and we're going to close out our entire show with her prayer for unity and for peace. So it's a powerful, long, wonderful evening celebrating and also moving forward. And as most of you know, we always like to start with music. And just as we invited our favorite presenters, we also invited our favorite musical artists. And I was so happy. Nina Grae she had to juggle a lot of things around to make it happen. But Nina is such a powerful voice. She did the narration for our original promotional video. She has sang on many of our shows, and whenever she sings, our hearts open. So I invite you to drop in. And Nina, thank you so much for agreeing to be with us tonight and to get us started.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Debra. Being part of this community has been such a highlight of my life experience this past 2 years. I love coming together with community that knows that we're here for a reason and that we are able and we are being called to bring forth the light during these times. So the reminder of that is powerful. These last 2 years have been such a beautiful space of awareness, and in the social justice space where I spend a lot of my attention. I was inspired to write a lot of songs because of what was happening in the States and beyond. And one of these songs called Freedom is one I want to share with you tonight on this quest for freedom that we are all experiencing more and more of as we shed what keeps us imprisoned, encaged, and stuck in old paradigms of behavior. Hey, what if we rewrote the story? Remember the glory of all of our differences. And hey, what if we rewrote the scripts? Let go of all that old shit in our heads. And hey, what if we lay down our weapons? What if we stop pretending hatred was justified? And hey, what if we raise the bar up, demanded a little more out of our lives? And I've always dreamed about freedom, freedom. And I know will never be about freedom till it belongs to all of us. Ooh, oh, ooh, oh. Men have talked for years on war and peace. Yeah. They've talked themselves blue and red in the face. Men have spent years walls trying to separate people, and man created race to separate. Blame it on our lack of urgency. Blame it on just having better things to do. But as we rise together in 2022, turning a blind eye is something we must refuse. 'Cause I've always dreamed about peace and harmony. I know will never be about peace until there's justice in these streets. Oh, oh, oh,
we've always dreamed about freedom, freedom. And we know that we're gonna be about freedom, 'cause it belongs to all of us. May our hearts and minds and spirits stay so free. Thank you.
Oh, Nina, you just opened all of our hearts. And yeah, absolutely. May we truly embrace and experience freedom. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Before you go away, you know, one of the things that we really like to do on this show, first on Saturday Night Live, now on Awakening World, is we really want to always encourage people to support our artists. And it's so important to support our artists. And we don't live in a culture that does that. We live in a culture that often supports what's a little bit backwards. And there's a wonderful thing. First of all, this is Nina's website, and it's her name, Nina Grae. She spells it Grae. So ninagrae.com. And there's all sorts of wonderful things there, but I really want to encourage everybody, please join her Patreon. In fact, both of our artists tonight, Kristin and Nina, have Patreon accounts. I've joined their Patreon, and it's a wonderful way for artists to be supported. And what happens is when you become a patron, you can make a monthly pledge. And both Nina and Kristin are very, very prolific in what they offer to their patrons. And you can come in as low as $8 a month. And this way, as they develop patrons, they know they're going to have that little monthly amount coming in. And it's so important for us to support our artists. So please, please, please. And believe me, it's a great investment, because I get so excited when I'm going through my emails, and then there's like a new email from Nina Grae, and it might be Nina singing in her car on her phone, right? Or sharing a little piece of wisdom, you know, the Nina moment of the day. But it's always so cool when you've got something, and I always get excited, and it's like I put everything aside, and it's like, oh, what does Nina have to say today? Or what is Nina singing about this time? So it's actually one of the best investments I've ever made. So
Oh, thank you so much, Scott. Thank you for being such a champion for artists, and especially during these past 2 years.
yeah,
Deeply appreciate it.
been important.
Thank you.
Hi, well, thank you, Nina. Beautiful start to the show.
Thank you.
And
Blessings to all.
and to introduce our first amazing presenter, here's Debra.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Nina. That was incredible. And when I reached out to this presenter to invite him to come on, I was so happy that he said yes, because for me, his books, and there are certain books that come through and they just sort of raise the whole community's consciousness. When his first book, or the book that I really know, Conversations with God, came out, that was like a Bible to me. There was so much wisdom there that took me up to the next level of where I was going. And he hasn't stopped. He is still writing, he is still sharing, he is still putting out the information of the next level of high level information. And I'm talking about Neale Donald Walsh. Thank you, Neale, for being with us tonight, for gracing us. I think you came on 3 times on Saturday Night Alive, and we really appreciated it. And thank you for being here for our 2nd anniversary.
Gosh, excuse me. Thank you, Debra and Scott, and the whole team there for inviting me and giving me a chance to share some ideas that I have about all that's been taking place in our world over the past 2 years. Because I think that how we look at these events will have much to do with how we experience our future. But I have to be honest with you, I don't know what I could say that could capture the hope for tomorrow and our understanding of what's going on now better than what Nina just did. It's very difficult to follow that. You're right, Debra. It opened our hearts. Scott, you're right. Our hearts are open now. And gosh, Nina, thank you for putting into words and into music, for putting out a message that we could all relate to immediately and at a very deep level. The theme of this evening's program is a new beginning, but it could just as easily be called a terrific ending. Because I think that what we have learned over the past 24 months is that it is no longer desirable or workable for us to continue living as we have been. What I mean is the challenges and losses we've encountered since 2020 have brought much of humanity, perhaps a larger percentage of all of us than ever before, to a place of clarity. Clarity that it is time for us to abandon some of our most sacred beliefs. Two that I can think of right off the top. These are beliefs that have been held as foundational by our species, but that events over the past 2 years have taught us no longer support our civilization. They do not help us to create the life that we choose. The two beliefs that we are learning to abandon, first, our belief in separation. And second, our belief in a God who separated us from God and who judges, condemns, and punishes. We've learned in the past 24 months that all the world is one, that we are one with everyone, and that we wish no longer to be controlled by a them versus us mentality. We have learned beyond a shadow of a doubt, as I can see, that this can no longer work for us. We've learned that if we are going to be confronted by a common crisis, to say nothing of a series of common crises, then we are going to have to create common solutions, solutions that work, not only for some of us, but for all of us. Have we gotten there yet? No. But we have learned that this is the direction in which we now wish to go. And I really have a sense, a deep inner feeling that we're seriously on our way. Our belief in a separation theology is what began all of this, in my observation. In the earliest days of the history of our species, we couldn't figure out what was going on. I mean, how it was happening. We had no explanation for the events that we observed. You know, the changing beauty of the night sky, the frightening impact of an earthquake, all of the events, the effects of the world around us. We didn't know how that was happening. All we knew is that we had no control over it. So we concluded that there must be another power, a higher power, a power over which we had no control, that was producing outcomes we could neither predict nor avoid. This wound up creating, as the years went by, a separation theology. The idea that the higher power was somewhere over there, and we're down here, totally separate from it. This led us to create a separation cosmology, because out of our theology, a cosmology emerged, an overall idea that everything is separate from everything else, which produced a separation psychology, a mental construction in which we saw each of us as separate from each other. And this generated a separation sociology, the forming of groups that we came to call nations and races and religions, and all manner of ways in which we organized ourselves, each group declaring and serving its own interests. And finally, all of that wound up producing a separation pathology. Pathological behaviors of self-destruction, evidenced throughout recorded history and showing itself again during these days and times. All of which has brought us our present opportunity, the opportunity that we are now residing in, the opportunity to see the truth of our being, that we are all one. One with each other, one with life, and yes, one with the higher power. My observation is that our understanding of this is reaching new levels in response to the events of 2020, of 2021, and our present year, now over one quarter finished. I see us, as a civilization, slowly but determinedly transforming our mind, body, and spirit individually, and working with more commitment than ever to transform our communities. What is next in this profound social movement? My prediction is it's the letting go of that second sacred belief, the belief in a God who is judging, condemning, and punishing. This is the invitation now before us, and it's important. This is not just a theological, idea or a theological excursion. The situation is that we've been basing our behaviors, group with group, race with race, religion with religion, nation with nation, in the way that our old beliefs have told us that God behaves with us. But now we see that this too is not working, because we have behaved with each other using God's behavior, as we've understood it, as a model. Judgment, condemnation, and punishment has been our blueprint. It has even been the way in the past that we loved each other. We've been living within a I love you if model. Yet now the days we are living through in our present reality are inviting us to create a new definition of life, a new definition of ourselves, and a new definition, yes, of God. What if we decided that God can be defined by two words? Pure love. Now, some people might say, oh, please, Neale, please. We all know that God is love. There's nothing new about that. But I didn't say that God is love. I said that God is pure love. And some of you might say, okay, all right, what's the difference? And today, precisely because of all that has been happening on this planet, we are seeing the difference. We are seeing that pure love needs, expects, requires, and demands nothing in return. Dare we embrace a notion of a higher power such as that? Dare we embrace an idea of our own love for each other in the same way? It's a daring idea for sure. It's what can be called our next collaboration as we seek to create a new earth, a new way of being human. And that's what the past 2 years, in my observation, has brought us. The opportunity to make some huge decisions. The opportunity to decide there's another way to be human. And that's what I hope we'll be listening to carefully tonight as well. In the words, the insights, the awareness, the understanding of all the wonderful presenters and speakers that have been gathered by Debra and Scott and the entire team here to bring us all to a new place of upliftment, a new place of awareness, a new invitation. Things don't have to be the way they have been. But sometimes it takes, dare I use the word a crisis, or something pretty close to a crisis, to stop us in our tracks and cause us to say, okay, time to change directions. So more about what that new direction will be is what you'll be listening to tonight. Listen carefully to the people who will follow. They have huge wisdom and wonderful insights. And by the way, please know that you didn't come here by accident. Your soul brought you here to hear exactly what you're going to hear in the moments just ahead. So I thank you for that dedication, for that commitment, and for that choice and decision to be here. And thank you all for this opportunity to share these moments with you.
Oh, Neale, thank you so much for getting us off to a really wonderful start and for your wisdom. And yeah, learning true love, divine love. I'm a dog lover, and my dog is who teaches me unconditional love. And my best friend wrote a book, Jonathan Robinson, called Conversations with Dog. Um, I'll have to make sure you get a copy of that because, boy, that's how we learn. But thank you for so many years. You have been lighting the way for us, and like Debra said, Conversations with God has been really one of the most profound books for so many, and now the series of books that you've written. I do want to direct people to your website because you've got a lot of offerings here. And so everybody, if you go to his website, it's his name, his full name, Neale Donald Walsh, Neale spelled Neale, Walsh spelled WALSCH.com. Neale, is there anything you want to particularly direct people to that you're doing?
Well, I would simply invite them, thank you for the opportunity. I would simply invite them to take a look to see if it brings something to them that they can find even powerful and useful these days at the latest publication. I've been offering it for free for the reading on my Facebook page over the past several weeks, one excerpt every day, daily, for a number of weeks. And if you want to get your own personal copy, of course, you can always grab one off of any of the online bookstores. The book is called The God Solution, and it offers a solution to the problems that we have been facing over the past 24 months. So that's what I would invite people. I think it's an important work. I think it's an insightful idea, and I hope that you'll take a look at it. Again, you can read it for free on my Facebook page, The God Solution.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. You are beloved.
Thank you.
It's I got choked up during Nina's song, and I'm still kind of in recovery, and then listening to Neale's wisdom. And we get to just go right into another extraordinary soul. And I'm talking about Matt Kahn. It was really fun. I was doing the sound check with Kristin Hoffmann today at, I don't know, like 4:15, I think. And all of a sudden, Matt popped in, and I was like, wow, it's a Matt Kahn sighting. And it was great. He talked about how he always comes early, and we got a chance to really chat. And I think he enjoyed Kristin's rehearsal. Matt, thank you for being with us. And I think almost everybody knows you, but anybody who doesn't, he is the author of the best-selling books. And his message that certainly struck me, and it was probably his best-selling book, was whatever arises, love that. Everything is here to help you. Those are two different books, but that's like this theme that he has helped me with. I can remember reading that book during a really hard time and really dropping into the ability to see the bigger picture. And so, Matt, thank you again for all the books, all the YouTube videos that you've created, all the travels and the lectures, all the ways that you also have helped light the way for us. And thank you for being with us tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here with all of you. And if this is the first time that we are connecting, what I offer is a transmission of healing energy, and it comes through the sound of my voice and through the gaze that comes through eye contact. And I offer it to the world because we're at a point in history where it's not just about the big and bold ideas that we consider, but to actually feel the direct experience that this awakening consciousness is bringing to all. When we reflect, or at least when I reflect over the last 2 years, I went through an extraordinary experience that in some ways was some of the toughest times in my life. I had experienced many awakenings throughout my life, and over the last 2 years, I found myself going through an unexpected experience of coming back fully into the body I had previously woken up from. And in going through an experience of integration, I was so humbled and blessed to experience what I look at as perhaps the next stage beyond awakening, the stage of embodiment. And so as I transmit with all of us tonight, I want to boldly offer this invitation. The invitation that in the new paradigm, the way we raise our vibration is by praising our vibration. And that just as much as we are all way showers and anchors of light, and we are living in a world where the collective aspect of humanity is just discovering unity consciousness, or awakening out of the limitations of individual perception and realizing the interconnectedness that unites us as one. But what I find equally fascinating is also, what are the beings who already have that spiritual orientation? What's their awakening? Because there's no such thing as a spiritual being waiting for the world to get its act together. And just as much as there are beings who are going through a process of existentially erasing the line between individual and collective, we equally, as spiritually oriented beings, are undergoing a process of erasing any perception of separation between spiritual and the personal. And so when we praise our vibration, like I often talk about in Whatever Arises, Love That, it is not love instead of fear. In the new paradigm, it is loving the one who hides in fear. It is not love instead of sadness, but using the love to embrace the sadness within us, so that when we're in the presence of another being who is sad, we have practiced making such peace and such a connection of friendship and intimacy with our own emotions that we can actually hold space for the healings occurring in those who are manifested in our direction. And as spiritual beings, this is a time to erase any imagined barriers between the human experience, the personal experience, and the spiritual reality. We are not waking up out of being a person to hide in higher dimensions. We are bringing our higher dimensional consciousness into the physical form as a gateway that brings unity consciousness into this world, so we can begin collaborating, connecting, and recreating the infrastructure of this world from the inside out, all anchored at the vibration of love. To think about raising a vibration suggests that I'm going to lift my energy above a lower vibration to stay in the higher vibration. And so many beings have the misfortune of then blaming someone who bumped them out of their higher vibrational experience. But when we so boldly praise our vibration as a means of raising our vibration, we are taking the higher aspects of our infinite intelligence, the glory and radiance of our eternal hearts, and we are embracing every wound. We're consoling every fear, and we are allowing ourselves to go through a living experience of alchemy, where we are living embodied agents of transformation that watch the work of art of the universe come alive within us. when we love ourselves in response to whatever experience arises. We are no longer on paths assuming or trying to do any amount of spiritual work to get out of certain experiences. We accept from a space of surrendered resolve that every experience that we are having is not a sign of what you haven't worked on, looked at, or processed, or traced back to a past experience. For all of the memories that live in the cells of our bodies are one with the pain the world is still learning to face. And as we love in ourselves what arises spontaneously in experience, we are loosening the collective density that allows the world to find safety, to come out of hiding, and to find the ability to connect heart to heart, and to bask in the glory of true intimacy without the fear of being annihilated by an awakening consciousness that is only intimidating when we hide in our egos and turn away from this invitation to become one with the love that we are. And as I personally reflect on the last many years, few years of what has happened as I've come into the state of embodiment, what was important before has become impeccably important now. My service to humanity is not limited to the books I write, to the YouTube videos that have become popular, to this moment where I'm transmitting with you. My offering to humanity is the artistry of my personal conduct, where in every breath, the most important thing in my entire life is that I am giving anyone that enters my presence a course corrective experience of my gender, a course corrective experience of my race, a course corrective experience of my consciousness, and a course corrective experience of my form. For it is my greatest desire to not assume I know anything about the experiences of anyone's journey, so that I have so much to learn in listening to the unique testimony of every human being. And if they have been negatively affected, or anyone in their ancestry has been affected by the race my body expresses, by the gender my body reflects, by the consciousness I embody, or the form that I remind them of, it is my living duty and service as a heart-centered way shower of unity consciousness to be the difference of experience that allows this world to unite as one, and to do so in the name of love, as we as spiritual beings unite the personal with the spiritual. If we will raise our vibration, let us do so by praising our vibration, and let us love ourselves, connect with others, and face a world of uncertainty as the love that we are.
Boom.
Boom.
That's a big boom.
Thank you.
I really want to encourage everyone to make sure that you get a copy of the recording. You'll find this all over. It's on the YouTube channel, Alan's YouTube channel, Global Peace Tribe. And what Matt just shared, really the back-to-back of Nina opening our hearts,
Gorgeous.
Neale's genius, and then really what you just said, Matt, we do shows on decolonization, and but you just described so beautifully a very compassionately loving way
Thank you.
to manage some of the complexity that we face in resolving the masculine, resolving our history, resolving white privilege.
Yes.
And so thank you for expressing that. I want to go back and play that a few times and memorize it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And just really quickly, I just want to say that it is my living testimony, my awareness, and my suggestion that there is a way in which we can resolve every degree of unprocessed pain and darkness but from the most loving standpoint, because that's the difference between consciousness and unconsciousness. And there is a way, as Neale so eloquently talked about, pure love. And then, of course, here is the follow-up, and we are all here to learn the new way of being. So, and again, Scott and Debra, both thank you so much for this invitation.
Oh, Matt, thank you so much for being with us. And Matt's going to be back on The Awakening World on Saturday night, June 10th. But between now and then, to discover all things Matt Kahn, it's
All things Matt Kahn.
all things Matt Kahn.
Let's do it.
Because you deserve more love, not
Thank
less.
you, sir.
And it's at his website. It's mattkahn.org. And he spells it MATTKAHN.
Yes.
.org. And his books are wonderful. I love his books. I can remember I was at Wilbur Hot Springs when I first read Whatever Arises. Loved that. And I was there because I was in a hard time. And that book really helped me, Matt. So anyway, thank you so much for being with us. And
Thank you. It's
this
an honor.
incredible transmission. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Well, Debra, well, it's like such an extraordinary start to the evening, and just that transmission we received from Matt just now. Wow.
And he has a new book coming out, and we're going to be sharing about that. That's coming out in the next month or so, in June. So
Yeah, again,
watch
thank you
that.
so much, Matt. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Debra because she's got something very special to share and a wonderful person to introduce.
Yes, as we can acknowledge the synchronicities that are happening so greatly now, as the whole world continues to escalate towards awakening, I was very blessed to meet this woman, Tanjila, as I was deciding if we were going to produce this Saturday Night Alive. And synchronistically, we talked about what she had to offer. And in coming back and doing the second anniversary of Saturday Night Alive, we saw that this would be an incredible gift for the Global Peace Tribe community for the next cycle of what we're all doing. Because we've brought a lot of people together. These shows are fabulous. And there's a lot that happens when we're online together, but really, how do you follow through with connecting everyone and getting to meet everyone and figure out what your gifts are and what your missions are and what you have to offer? And right there in front of me, as I was talking to her, that is what she has been working on. And this is a gift to you tonight for the Global Peace Tribe. So Tanjila is a longtime spiritual seeker, global adventurer, entrepreneur, multidimensional guide. She's founded several technology businesses around the world, and she's very passionate about people connecting and about connecting at a deep level. And she saw within her own life how this is so important for us now to empower all that we're doing to deeply connect. So she, with her own resources, her own heart, her own courage, created this incredible platform called Soul Search. And it's an online destination space for spirituality and consciousness, where people all over the world can share what they're up to in terms of what they have to offer. You can be on groups, you can share, you can connect. And we also have a platform, a group for Global Peace Tribe. So the Global Peace Tribe people, if you want to meet each other in there, can connect. So as we know, some of our other social media platforms are a little bit compromised sometimes. At times they won't let you say all that you want to do or share all that you want to do. So this is another alternative for us to really come together and connect and share what we want. So I want to introduce Tanjila now to share about what she has to offer as this gift to the Global Peace Tribe.
And Tanjila, do you want us to show the video first?
Sure, that would be great, actually. Thank you so much. Thanks for the wonderful introduction, Debra.
Yes.
During these extraordinary times, are you seeking friends and collaborators, like-minded, brilliant, beautiful souls who want to be a part of creating the new earth? Here is the answer. Welcome to Soul Search. Soul Search is the high-frequency global online destination for spirituality and consciousness, where people from around the globe like you come together for spiritual exploration. This is a multi-dimensional community for spiritual seekers, healers, teachers, and guides for the global awakening. With Soul Search, the spiritual seeker can easily search for and connect with healing modalities, spiritual teachings, practices, and practitioners. You can explore high vibrational online and in-person spiritual events across the globe. Within the Soul Search community, you can join groups or take courses for your spiritual journey. With Soul Search, you are part of an inclusive, growing global community for consciousness. For spiritually conscious practitioners, Soul Search connects you to a global audience seeking your services. Build your credibility with a robust profile that demonstrates your expertise and experience. Post client reviews, articles, videos, photos, and audio. You can create secure and private online communities for your groups and clients. Be a part of an awakening community for spirituality where you can collaborate and connect with practitioners and seekers. As our gift to the Global Peace Tribe, we have created a group in the Soul Search community where Global Peace Tribe members can connect, share, and create together for the global consciousness awakening. Whether you are a spiritual seeker, healer, or just curious, join soulsearch.io today. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of our high vibrational community for the global awakening. We're excited to be connecting with your soul and radiant light.
Beautiful, Tanjila. Thank you so much for your offering. Would you like to share a bit more of what this creation is?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me and for, introducing Soul Search, the Global Peace Tribe. And it's just been such a beautiful evening already with Nina Grae's amazing heart-opening music and Neale Walsh and Kahn. So this has just already been so powerful. And I just want to acknowledge every single person here and how much I can feel all of your energy, all of us coming together and all of our hearts opening together to really create this. And this experience is something that I just wanted to bring out into the world more broadly and share more broadly. And that's really the impetus behind Soul Search. I was hosting spiritual events and ceremonies in New York City, and a lot of people would come who not even familiar with meditation or anything spiritual, and they would really start shifting and come to me and say, hey, where can I start learning more? How can I connect with a specific healer? Or where can I explore this modality or find a retreat? And there was really no destination for people to go to online to begin this journey and to start exploring. And I wanted there to be a global destination where practitioners and seekers could come together and start exploring. And so that was the birth of Soul Search. And it's been a journey for me too. The last 2 years I've experienced complete ego dissolution, having to really let go of a lot of the things that I identified with culturally and socially, and I kind of had to go through that to really expand and open into what is true unity consciousness and what is true open love. And that's really the premise behind Soul Search, is to really create this high vibrational open community where people from around the world can come together to start exploring what spirituality and consciousness means to them, and creating a platform where healers can come and have their profiles and be able to share their gifts in terms of their expertise, articles, videos, events, and where people can have their retreats. And it's so important, even for me, these last 2 years, I feel like having spiritual community here in Sedona, where I live, and also in the Bay Area, where I moved to from New York City, was really pivotal in my expansion and my opening. And not everyone has that. And so I think it's so important. We've learned through Global Peace Tribe that having a virtual community is amazing and can really provide people so much support when you really feel like you're alone and you don't really have a place to go to, because there's so much confusion in what's happening around in the world and what's happening inside ourselves. And so what we really want to do with Soul Search is provide this community for people wherever they are, if they're in Cairo or if in Mexico City and they're interested in ascension or, chakra healing or whatever, or if they want to learn more about Neale Donald Walsh's Conversations with God, they can come and start exploring in community and start exploring together and having those conversations, and then finding places where they can then be meeting in person through retreats and events. So this is really, what we've created, and it's something we're creating with the community. So it's going to be evolving and expanding with all of you. And we're really excited to offer this gift to the Global Peace Tribe of having an online community for all of you, where you can come together to continue sharing and connecting and collaborating, because this is the age of the global awakening, where it's all about collaboration and connection and community from the heart and with the heart in the one heart.
Tanjila, thank you so much for what you've created. And we're really excited about collaborating with you. We're going to do an entire weekend of the Awakening World, first weekend of June with Tanjila. And every week we're going to, highlight a little something that she's doing, so we could really integrate her into our world, and all the people you're going to meet through Global Peace Tribe, and all the Global Peace Tribers that are going to be able to meet each other through what you're creating. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much for being, for opening the way, for paving the way by creating Global Peace Tribe during this time of, what's been a very difficult time for a lot of people, and creating a community. And we just hope to really continue that even more broadly. So thank you so much.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Stick around. We've got a great show. You're going to enjoy it.
Thank you.
And she'll be back with us tomorrow morning also for our Sacred Sunday show. So you'll be seeing more and more of Tanjila. Well, Debra and I get to now honor two people that talk about collaborators. These were two people that were so critical to the growth, the evolution of Saturday Night Alive. And of course, I'm talking about Mayer and Jan Kaplan. Jay generously supported and sponsored us and allowed us to do a lot of the shows. All the Indigenous Elder and Wisdom shows that we did, Jay made that happen. And Jay and Jan created a lot of videos, including what we're about to see, our weekly Wisdom Jewels video. But before we show that, I'd love to turn it over to Debra, who I know has some words of appreciation also.
Yeah, they were with us week by week. Totally. They were like our partners. Incredible partnership they are. Incredible talents. Jan has been a show producer for many years in her life, and Jay has a vision and a heart that encompasses the world. So they were with us in our meetings and birthing these new ideas that came forward, and especially honoring the Indigenous. That was such a special run of shows. And we brought Indigenous elders from all over the world that came and spoke to you and gave their wisdom. And how important is that right now? Because they're telling us what, they've known for years that we need to know about honoring the earth and bringing balance in, and all that they live by. So very, very special. So we asked them to put together a wisdom jewel, which is another incredible thing they did. They created the wisdom jewels every single week in their studio, and that highlighted incredible wisdom and speakers and all of that. So thank you, both of you, for being with us and being on that journey.
And of course, when we think of Jay Mayer, we think of light touch. And I have a feather right by my desk and a feather right by my bed. And we are in the after show going to be doing some light touch practice with Jay and with Jan. And also during the after show, we're going to play a video of Grandmother Flordemayo that she did for us just a few days ago, a prayer. And then finally, and Jan, you may, if you want to say anything, we're dedicating this wisdom jewel to the memory of someone who became a good friend of Jan, and by nature a friend then of Global Peace Tribe, and that's Joanne Shenandoah, who sadly passed away. And anything you want to share, Jan?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just been like an amazing journey, and to work with both of you, and being able to bring Indigenous voices, to this platform. And Joanne was so special and such a dear, dear ambassador of peace. And so, it's so rare that we got to make new friends during the pandemic. And so this show allowed us all to meet new people and really go deep with people that we had never even met before. So Joanne was one of those really special people that we just fell in love and got to be dear friends. And the next thing I know, she left us. And so, it was a really profound experience for me to, fall in love with her, and to consider her part of our Global Peace Tribe family, and then to lose her, but to know that her music and her work lives on, and her beautiful family lives on. And so, yay, thank you for the
Thank
opportunity.
you, Jan. Thank you. And we actually have a little video here of the news broadcast about the passage of Joanne. And so we just want to take a minute to honor her and send her spirit our best wishes.
Grammy award-winning artist, educator, human rights activist. No surprise why so many of you nominated Joanne Shenandoah as one of Central New York's most remarkable women earlier this year. She has passed away at the age of 64.
Central New York and the world lost an ambassador of peace, a role she began as a child on the Oneida Nation, as she would go on to live an incredibly impactful life.
I am standing on the edge of wondering where to go.
Joanne Shenandoah sings from the heart, and you can feel it in yours.
Torn in this world of woe.
Her music career started at a very young age, with her parents encouraging her to study voice, flute, piano, guitar.
I was told as I was a little girl from Visionary, we would help people to understand relevance of peace.
And she grew up to become a Grammy-winning musician and humanitarian, receiving accolades from around the world. She's played at the White House, the Vatican, shared the stage with top performers and heads of state, all true to the Oneida Elders' vision.
I would bring music that would help to heal. Music that would be full of joy, full of love, and of peace. And that's happened over and over and over and over again. I get thousands of emails all the time, and I feel really good about that.
She focused on her traditional teachings and meditation. She also went deeper into the healing powers of music.
When Iroquois women dance, we dance in a circle, and our feet never leave the ground, as if to caress Mother Earth and thank her for giving us life. And we go the direction the earth moves, which is so beautiful and powerful.
A true believer in the power of nature, of simplicity, and expressions that you can't get in a text message.
I love to hear the texture, the sound, the desires, the passion, the love in someone's voice.
And there is nothing quite like her voice.
When others lose their way, we will rise up. We will rise up. We will rise up and see the way.
With beauty in her voice and in her soul, Joanne Shenandoah is remarkable.
And so this section of our show tonight is honoring Joanne. and all the Indigenous elders that came on. And again, thank you to Jay Mayer for making it happen. Thank you to Jan, who found so many of these Indigenous elders. And so they've put together a special wisdom jewels with quotes from Indigenous wisdom. Let's take a look. Wrong one. Here we go.
Washita do ya, Washita do ya, hey. Washatane hey ya, Washatane hey hey. Washatane hey Washatane hey hey. Washita do ya, Washita do ya, hey. Washita do ya, Washita do ya, hey. Washatane hey Washatane hey hey. Washatane hey Washatane hey hey. Washita do ya, Washita do ya, hey. Washita do ya, Washita do ya, hey. Washatane hey Washatane hey hey. Washatane hey Washatane hey hey. Washita do ya, Washita do ya, hey. Washita do ya, Washita do ya, hey. Washatane hey Washatane hey hey. Washatane hey Washatane hey. Washita do ya, Washita do ya, hey. Washita do ya, Washita do ya, hey. Washatane hey Washatane hey hey. Washatane hey Washatane hey. Washita do ya,
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jan. More light touch during the after show. Thank you, Joanne. And thank you, Brooke Medicine Eagle, who provided that music and will be joining us next week for our Earth Day weekend on the Awakening World.
Can I add something about Joanne for a second? She was a great help in the Indigenous show. She hooked us up with, all the all the Native communities, and we're just really appreciative. She was so helpful, and we were really blessed to know her. She would call and she would talk to Jan. She'd just call in the middle of the night, and they'd talk for like half an hour.
Oh. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jan. And to introduce a very special guest that we love very much, here's Debra.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you, Jan. Thank you, Jay. And yes, now I'm happy to present two very high-level spiritual guides that Scott and I have come to love very deeply, and we also personally follow, who are the TwinRay, Shekinah and Sananda. And they've joined Saturday Night Alive now in the Waking World several times, and it's always been extremely powerful transmissions. They bring forth wisdom teachings from ancient spiritual science that prepares the physical body to harness enlightenment and liberation. And they've created a modern day spiritual academy for all souls that are looking to embody God, to deepen heart's connection to source, and really embrace the great awakening that's happening now. So I'm so happy to present and that they are with us tonight to grace us, the TwinRay, Shekinah and Sananda.
I just want to let people know that they're going to lead a meditation, and afterwards it's going to go straight into a special original soul om with our beloved Kristin Hoffmann. So, and yeah, both Debra and I love these two so much, and thank you for being with us. It's amazing that you're here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, beloveds. We were just feeling into the beautiful music that was played and the heart of the earth being felt throughout the music, and honoring beautiful Joanne Shenandoah. So again, and this is a perfect portal of time, because today we present this portal of life and death and rebirth. Today we remember, come back together again with truth, and remember what it means to give all, to receive the all. Today we take sacrifice and turn it into sacred life. And we ask everyone in this moment of now, everybody here, to lay bare your souls, for today is a day where you will be able to receive an incredible infusion of light. And remember that as we guide you through this process, you're going to open up more and more and more and more. And so we ask you to allow all that is coming.
Just taking a deep breath, breathing into your sacred hearts, feeling the miracle that is your life. And asking yourself, what may I do to allow myself to experience the sacredness of life, of love, of divinity in all moments? And you breathe into your heart and just soften, give great respect to all that have come before us. May we feel great gratitude for the significant lives that have touched ours, as we respect and appreciate all life. And when you allow yourself to breathe through your heart and see through your heart, see the miracles, see the wonderment, see the beauty that is before you. And as you appreciate all of the multiplicity and the beautiful unity that connects us all to the light of our soul, to the light of spirit. And we take a breath and let go and surrender into the remembrance of life, of loved ones. And as you breathe and you soften, may your crown open up, just bringing your awareness to just above your head, just opening up. We're in a powerful wormhole right now, powerful time to move your life trajectory to the highest reality. And the highest reality is when you let go of all that you are not, to embrace all that you truly are. It's that purity of love, As you breathe, just feel your crown opening up. Allow light. If you feel, sense, or request, just requesting that light to come through, to purify, to sanctify the temple that houses your soul.
What would it be like to see through the eyes of God? What would it be like to see yourself with that purity? To experience yourself with that grace, with that love that can only see God, that can only see truth, that only knows light. Take a moment to imagine what God sees you as. If you could only see how we see you, if you could only see through that lens of what love sees and what love experiences. Take a breath now through the center core of your heart, as if it is breathing a living, expanding field of consciousness that knows all and sees all only through the heart of love, only through the eyes of love, and lay bare all that is not serving the eyes of love and the heart of love.
As you ascend the light of your soul into the expression of your truth, it's the path of shedding, releasing, relinquishing. All that no longer serves this rebirth, this new earth. So this is the time to let go and rejoice for the miracle of your life, for the miracle and the wonder of the lives that have touched yours, and for all lives, seen and unseen, are equally sacred. Seeing within every body to see the light of divinity, to feel that light with your heart, to breathe into that light, to serve that light, to give everything to that light, to surrender all to that light, to live a holy life.
What are you willing to give?
That is why you're here, to give all of yourself, and all of yourself is the grand supremacy of divine love. All questions are answered in the name of love. Allowing yourself to be so intelligent, opening yourself up to the intelligence of love, to know when to be firm and anchored, to know when to bend and flow, to know when to expand, when to realign, because that is what resurrection is, to re-erect into the central column of light, the divine universal life. That is the purpose of your sacred incarnation. May you remember how sacred and holy you are, and may you remember how sacred and holy all is. May this transmission of spoken words, of frequency, of love. Awaken the chambers of your heart, the cells, the temple of your soul. Awaken to what you always shall be as love, where duality fades and purity remains.
Look now before you. An altar awaits you. It is the altar of your high heart. It is the high heart that has been asking you to approach it. It is the high heart that has been crying for you to embrace it. It is the high heart that has been waiting for you to listen through the whisper of the wind to what it is asking. We ask you to begin to take steps towards that altar of your high heart. And as you get closer and closer and closer to that altar, you begin to rise, levitating just a little bit more, the closer and closer you get. The light becomes brighter and brighter and brighter, and you become more and more empty, more and more still.
And the last final calling is, what do you wish to give as an offering? Offering of your life. If everything in your life, in the sum total of your expression, could be seen as one offering in this moment, what would you lay upon this altar as an offering to the Most High, an offering to the all-loving one, the Great Spirit, the Holy Spirit?
If this was your last breath to take and your last moment before the grand celebration of eternity, what would you give? What would you offer? What would you sacrifice? Sacred life. Sacrifice in order to have a sacred life. What is that? Those who give all, get all, receive all, embody light, embody love, and transmit that seamlessly with such grace and such beauty and purpose. It penetrates and permeates all sheaths within and without all the bodies, to be able to bring and raise that light quotient within so you can hold more light. Imagine now and allow yourself, your cells to start to fill with that light, filling and receiving all of the light that is available for you right now in this portal, in this wormhole, where all surprises are available for you.
Cracking into the shell of all illumination, all limitation to reveal all illumination. Take a deep breath and just soften, and allow yourself to feel the lightness of your soul, the lightness of the spirit that holds and upholds you in all moments that you take breath. In spirit is the breath of life. Allow yourself to take breath and honor life. And so it is. Thank you. We love you. And thank you for being a part of this beautiful movement of awakening love. Full to see and feel.
through eyes of divine love. I see you traveling on the wings of divine love. This symphony plays through the hearts of time. The symphony plays from heart to heart, from your heart through mine. This endless love. And I'm seeing you and you're seeing me in these new beginnings of awakening. You're seeing me and I'm seeing you in these new beginnings of the love we are, and I'm seeing you in the fullness of the love you are, and I'm seeing you in the fullness of the love you are, and I'm seeing you in the fullness of the love you are, and I'm loving you in the fullness of the love you are, and I'm receiving you in the fullness of the love we are, and I'm holding you in that embrace of the love we are, and I'm remembering the pureness of that love we are. It's the highest love, the highest
celebrating this most important anniversary. Our anniversary, where we remember that it's our eternal anniversary. Love, love, love. Gratitude.
I'm going to invite us to just have like another minute of silence to digest that extraordinary back-to-back from the TwinRay and then Kristin taking us to heaven, taking us to the eternal. I'm going to bring Debra on too. It's hard to speak after that. The three of you have taken us to a whole new level. In 2 years of doing a lot of shows, this was a whole new moment of consciousness. I really want to encourage anyone who has not already discovered what the TwinRay have to offer. I've been blessed to meet so many amazing spiritual teachers. I'm 66 and I've been on this path a long time. Started when I saw Jim Morrison playing when I was 12 years old at a love-in. And I've been following spiritual teachers ever since. And the TwinRay, I so resonate with their teachings, and everything they express, everything they share is just next level. So I really want to encourage people to go to twinray.com, perhaps start with their free offering, the 4 Divine Paths of Freedom. They're very, very generous with all the webinars and classes, and you can download an app onto your phone. And then when the time comes, join their online academy. I joined it. I love it. Join their mentorship program. Everything they have to offer, they are truly guiding us and leading us into the highest possible future for each of us as individuals and in humanity. So please go to twinray.com. And we all just experienced Kristin and her amazing gift of taking us into higher consciousness. We must support our artists. We must support our artists. We must. So please go to KristinHoffmann.com. That's her name, Kristin Hoffmann, 2 N's. Took me a while to learn that. 2 N's, KristinHoffmann.com. And then in the upper right-hand corner, where it says payment and membership, go down and join her Sonic Soul family. It's such a gift to be a part of her family. Just last Sunday was her monthly Sonic Source. I have come in at the $77 level. You can come in at $11.33.77. Again, she provides so many gifts, and we must support our musical artists. We must, so that we can get Kristin's music and the TwinRay's wisdom out to the world. That's why we do these shows, is we've got to get this vibration, this wisdom, this music, this consciousness to a world that is so thirsty for your medicine.
They're crying. The world is crying, and we're answering with love.
Thank you so much. Thank you, beloved Kristin, that we're going to be supporting your membership and everything that we can support you with. Thank you. And we continue.
So beautiful to weave with you. So beautiful. What a gift. What a gift. And just so grateful while Scott and Debra, oh, Scott, you just took yourself off. While Scott and Debra are here, Scott's still here, I know, with us. I just want to thank you for, and I know I can speak for all of those who have shared as speakers, as leaders, as musicians. Thank you. On your 2-year anniversary, I cannot tell you what an important container you have opened for these times and for all of us to come together and share in such a unified and high level together. So we are so grateful to you both. And I bow. I'm sitting, but I bow. I just am so filled with gratitude and love.
I just want to echo that as well. Thank you so much, beloved Debra and beloved Scott. It's for all that you do, how you show up, the containers that you hold, and just the love that you give, the service, the unwavering service every day. Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of humanity, thank you.
Thank you. I love you guys so much. I just love you guys so much. Debra,
I hug you.
Debra, I'm kind of speechless, so I got to turn it over to you.
And the both of you together, just amazing. Such a peak of wisdom and vibration and high frequency and so much love. Just amazing, amazing.
Thank you. Debra, I'm going to turn it over to you completely for a minute.
Okay. Well, the next thing we have planned is to honor something that we did that is a similar vibration here, which is really be a source to the people that were all around that were having problems and needed support from us. So we utilize the Global Peace Tribe to be a source of getting the green love out to all the people that were really challenged during the time of the pandemic. Because a lot happened. I mean, at the very beginning, people couldn't even get food. They were, held hostage in their home. And so part of what the Global Peace Tribe did was we raised over $100,000, more than that, for organizations that were helping people all over the world. And that came from you, the Global Peace Tribe. We'd ask for your green love every week. You would send us your $1, your $5, your $50, your $500, and we would get it out to people in need all over and to organizations that are there committed to help. Especially at this time. We also brought in people in our community that needed help because they had cancer, Blaine Lyon, Mariella, and other organizations that have been working hard, the Dream Corps, the Pachamama Alliance. We also took that and kept supporting people, organizations in Nepal, in other countries, in Africa. And you provided us the green love each week, went through our donation portal, and we got it out to the world. And it was amazing. 100,000 more, maybe 120 at this point. And we continued to do that for a long time every week. And then the fires happened in Northern California and around. So we were there for people that lost everything, and they came in and they told their stories of what happened to lose everything by a fire instantly. And then we were there as a Global Peace Tribe to give them love. And they were so appreciative, and they used their journey as a teaching tool, as a spiritual tool, like we're all learning to do every moment, that anything that happens to you is a teaching tool and it's there for you to learn. And it was amazing to hear the stories of the fire victims. And again, we gave them love and financial support, and it was so helpful to them. And we want to continue to do that. And we did it just recently again with a person that Kristin knew who was stuck in Afghanistan. Can't really give all the details, but we were able, because we reached out to the Global Peace Tribe, to provide him money to get out of Afghanistan. And he got his money, and he was a peace activist, just like us, but he was stuck there, and we supported him. And I don't know, Kristin, if you want to come on and just say a few minutes about that story, because that just happened where we supported that.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful to the Global Peace Tribe, to Saturday Night Alive, to the Awakening World, and Debra and Scott for hearing my personal call for my dear friend from Kabul. And I knew him through work with the Empowerment Institute, and just such an incredible teen who literally is sharing love on such a high level and is so brave, is an incredible poet, is just dedicated to the mission of peace on such a high level. And I saw this over and over again in my work with him. And when things got very challenging in Afghanistan, we did a fundraiser through Saturday Night Alive, and you all gave so generously, and it did take some serious effort for them to get here. It was a few month journey, and it was not easy, but I'm very happy to say that he is not only here, but he has actually started to study at university here and is doing so well, and has already been getting into peace expressions here and with his peers. And it's just so beautiful to see a smile on his face and in his heart. And it's just invaluable. Your gift has helped someone so dear in my life. And I'm just seeing already how our support, both energetically and with green love, really helped to change someone's life, who I am very confident will be a person who gives back to this planet again and again and again and again. So he will come on very soon, and he has a lot to share, both through his very deep, poignant poetry and through his life experience, which has been one of great struggle, but it's also about overcoming adversity. And so I know we will all be deeply, deeply moved when he comes on. So thank you all. What you're doing, Debra, with these fundraisers is just so important. So thank you.
Thank you, Kristin. And we're going to request some green love tonight for the Global Peace Tribe, because we want to continue our mission. Scott has been doing the Awakening World. I took a pause to work on some other things and also work on the special events that I want to bring you. We're going to tell you more about that lately. And Scott has tirelessly continued to put the Awakening World on. And we want to continue these fundraising efforts for whatever comes up and be ready for what is coming next. Because Scott and I have been on mission, and we will continue to be to provide you what you need to know. So we would love your green love now at our donation portal, which is supportgpt.com. Anything you can give helps us, whether it's $5, $50, $500. It really helps and gives us a big yes to continue, especially with Scott and his shows and what we're planning to do next. And let our spirit come through and us continue to do our work. So we love your green love tonight, and our donation portal is always in our newsletter, so you can go there and give there. So whatever you can give, we would appreciate it so much. And it's a big yes.
I guess the only thing I want to add is, although it's in the newsletters, let's do it now. Let's, while we're in the moment, while we're in the inspiration, you can take your camera, take your cell phone, put it on camera, and just go towards the Q code, and it'll take you right to our donation portal. And we do want to grow this. This is just the beginning. I think that we all know that humanity is going through this incredible birth canal. We've heard the TwinRay and Matt and Neale and all of our luminary speakers offering basically the same truth through their own unique lens, that this is it. This is the time we've been waiting for. We are the ones we've been waiting for. This is the time we've all been preparing for. And in the next few years, humanity is going to go through this incredible birth canal. And there are going to be moments that are going to be really scary. There are going to be moments that are going to be very wonderful. And by taking hands, by learning and acquiring the wisdom that people like the TwinRay offer to us, we can make it through this time. And so the Global Peace Tribe is you. It's everybody who hears my voice right now, whether you're watching the replay, the recording, in Zoom with us, watching on Unify or Facebook or Alan's New Realities. Wherever you are a precious part of this movement. And we need you. And we also really do need some financial support to continue to grow it and to continue it. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And I'm sure that especially after we just experienced with Kristin and the TwinRay and that extraordinary experience that we just all had, and we're going to continue to create these amazing experiences. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Debra, for everything you do, and thank you, Global Peace Tribe, for being our family. And we are really hoping to create some retreats. Imagine being able to listen to Kristin live and hold each other and hug while we're listening to her play. So hopefully we will have some retreats. I'm going to turn it over to Debra to introduce another beloved presenter that I'm so grateful he's here. And here's Debra to tell you all about it.
Yes, this is such an amazing night to have live with us icons of the spirituality and the human potential movement. And we have another one coming off. Gary Zukov is the author of 4 consecutive New York Times bestsellers, and you will probably know him by his legendary bestseller, The Seat of the Soul. He was on Oprah many times and has become a voice of the human potential movement in a really deep way of spirituality. His books have sold 6 million copies and they're published all over the world. And we got to meet him and ask him to come on the show, and he was so gracious, and he's been with us several times. We did a special event with him that was really amazing. And Gary, we are so happy to have you with us live tonight. Thanks for taking time during your busy reality to be with her and share us about what you see happening in this world. What's happened in the last 2 years? What have we gone through? What have we transformed? And what's next?
Debra, it's so good to see you and Scott again and to be in this wonderful endeavor. Congratulations on 2 years. That's really a beautiful gift that you two have given. And every time that I've participated with you, the gathering has become more and more powerful. And this one is yet more powerful. Everyone from Nina and Neale to Matt and to Sunanda and Shekinah and Kristin, thank you so much. Thank you. And it has been quite a 2 years, hasn't it? And we've learned a lot, and we've talked about that. I'd like to bring your attention to a larger focus, the last 300,000 years. And I'm picking that time not because it's a beginning, what begins when and what ends when, from the perspective of the soul. But about 300,000 years ago is when humans came into being. And for 300,000 years, we've had a particular consciousness. And we have to have this larger context in order to appreciate the magnitude of what we're encountering and are in the midst of now. For most of that 300,000 years, all but about 20 of them, we have been, for the most part, a 5-sensory species. We've been confined to the 5 senses and to understanding what the 5 senses can provide us with the intellect. Now, a new consciousness is entering. Human consciousness itself is transforming, and that's what's happening now. And compared to the 300,000 years of the evolution of 5-sensory humankind, this evolution is happening with explosive speed, startling speed, faster than a heartbeat from the perspective of the previous evolutionary time. Hundreds of millions of people are being touched by the new consciousness. That many and much more are still 5-sensory. And we're in this time of transition where we have 1 foot in the old consciousness and 1 foot in the new. In the new consciousness, the understanding of power was the ability to manipulate and to control. And I'm mentioning these things because that understanding of power that used to be the way that we evolved, our good medicine, has now become poisonous. It's toxic. It's counterproductive to our evolution. It produces only violence and destruction. That old understanding of power is external power. And the new understanding of power that comes with the new consciousness is the alignment of the personality with the soul, with harmony and cooperation and sharing and reverence for life. But this new power is a potential. It's not a done deal. Multisensory perception, the experience of the new consciousness beyond the limitations of the 5 senses, that is a gift from the universe. And so many of us are being touched by it now, and within a few generations, everyone will be multisensory. But creating the new kind of power, authentic power, is now our evolutionary path. our evolutionary path is taking us directly, or in most cases indirectly, toward love. But no matter what path we're taking, that's where it's going. All roads lead to home, but some roads are longer and more difficult, and some roads are more direct and blissful. How do you take the direct and blissful road? Well, it's not as easy as it might sound. In my experience, the only way to enter the love that Sunanda and Shekinah were sharing with us, that Kristin was expressing, that all of us are feeling on a permanent, ongoing, stabilized basis. And that's important. On an ongoing, permanent, stabilized basis. The only way to create that is to find, which means experience fully within yourself, everything that prevents it. And everything that prevents it in yourself is an expression of fear. Jealousy, anger, resentment, vengeance, superiority, inferiority. To find all of these things, experience them, and not act on them while you are experiencing them. And that's where the rubber meets the road, because to experience a part of your personality that originates in fear requires commitment and courage, because they hurt. They really hurt. It's not poetical. They hurt. And the other aspects of your personality, like gratitude, appreciation, caring, patience, awe of the universe, those are always there too. And so when you're experiencing a part of your personality that originates in fear, you always have the option to move your attention and your attention to a loving part of your personality. And that is creating authentic power. That is the moment of transformation. That is the moment of self-mastery, or a beginning glimpse of it. Because also in my experience, because I didn't start as a spiritual person. I think now, looking at the universe, there's nothing that isn't spiritual. But I was addicted to sex. I could hardly wait to get into the army. I was a Green Beret officer in Vietnam. I hunted for treasure in the Florida Keys. I did everything I could, but it was all focused on the external world and all for me. So the way to love is challenging. And that challenge is the reason we are here. So in other words, the frightened parts of your personality are not obstacles to your spiritual growth. They are your avenues to spiritual growth, as Matt, I feel in his beautiful way, was expressing to us. Anytime you're angry or jealous, or you need sex, or you need to masturbate, or you need to shop or gamble, or you're a perfectionist or a workaholic, and you really experience those, what you are experiencing as a gracious gift from the universe is a part of your personality that you must experience and move beyond in order to give the gifts that you were born to give. You can't give those gifts when you're angry or vengeful or jealous. And it's in giving the gifts that you were born to give that meaning and purpose and joy enter your life. It's in giving those gifts that you and love become the same. So we are just entering this new consciousness, and everything that we've seen in this beautiful gathering is a fruit of it. It's the nectar of it. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. As we're moving from 5 sensory to multi-sensory, we can already feel the call of another domain of experience, the universal human. And so as we create authentic power, we become emerging universal humans. And the new world that we are longing for and intending to build, the new social structures that will replace those that are disintegrating now, emerge from authentically powerful humans. And the next stage of our evolution is the universal human, a human that is beyond nation, beyond religion, beyond culture, beyond ethnic group, beyond gender, a human whose allegiance is to life with a capital L first and everything else second. For example, if I were a universal human, I would say, I am a universal human first and a male second. I'm a universal human first and an American second. I'm a universal human first and a grandfather second. I'm a universal human first and everything else second. The universal human is now calling to us, even as we are learning how to be and how to use multisensory perceptions as our species moves from 5 sensory limitations to the much less limited perception, the impersonal perception of the soul, or multisensory perceptions. And that's where creating authentic power comes into the picture. That's where courage and commitment and compassion and conscious communication and actions come into the picture. That's where we come into the picture. Who else could be in the picture? It's such a joy to be with you. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Debra. Thank you to all whom I've seen from the beginning of the show and all who will now appear after. As Neale said, everyone has gifts to give, precious gifts to give. Listen to them carefully. Use them if you resonate with them. See how you can apply them in your life. And that includes what I'm sharing with you now. Thank you so much.
Gary, thank you so much for being with us. And I just want to remind everybody that Gary has some wonderful offerings. And I really want to acknowledge his partner, Linda Francis, who's also been just a gem to work with in the times that we've had you on our show. So a big hello to Linda, if she can hear us. And there she
Come in
is.
and say hi.
Hi, Linda.
Scott, we've been loving the show. We've been with you all night, and it's been so beautiful. And
Deborah.
wow.
Dear Deborah.
And Debra, where are you, Debra?
I'll bring Debra.
So grateful for all that you put together and all the dear people that we know. Some we know and some we don't. And Kristin, oh my gosh. The energy and the co-creation between you and Shekinah and Sananda today was just unbelievable. But I knew that about you the moment I met you.
I believe it.
So long ago.
I love you so much, Linda and Gary. So beautiful to be here with you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I knew it the minute I met you too. It was like soul family reunion.
And we still have Marianne Williamson coming up next.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And other amazing things. So I do want to briefly just take people to the Seat of the Soul Institute. And I know you have all sorts of resources, events, programs, the Journey to the Soul program, and of course your books, your beautiful, beautiful books. So all things Gary and Linda live at seatofthesoul.com. And thank you for being such a precious part of Global Peace Tribe. And thank you so much. We love you very much. Thank you for being with us tonight. And stick around. We've got some really wonderful stuff still ahead of us.
We love you all.
I'm going to leave Debra on as we get to now introduce Marianne Williamson. And Marianne, thank you with your busy schedule for joining us tonight.
I'm happy to be here.
It's been an amazing evening. And the question that we've just asked all of our beautiful luminaries is, your personal experience of the 2 years, how you've transformed, your perception of humanity's transformation, and where do you think we're going, your vision for our future. And I know Debra has something to say first.
I just want to honor this woman who is an amazing spiritual teacher. We've all been following her for many years, but she doesn't just speak the word, she does the word. She ran for president, my God, so that the voice of the feminine, of reason, the voice of love could go into the belly of the beast. And it was not an easy assignment. I know that very well. So she listens to God and she says yes, on those assignments. So I just want to honor her. She's been with us several times at really important times, like right after the election when we were so polarized. We had her come on and she brought us together as one. And so I appreciate you, Marianne. We all do. We love your work. Thank you for coming on and blessing us. And we're so happy to hear what you have to say about these amazing times we're in right now.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Debra. Thank you to all of you. And it does feel like a bit of a family reunion here. We talk about these changing times, and we are living in in-between times. There is the archetype of the fall of Rome, and then there's the archetype of a world that is struggling to be born. And both are true. Both are happening simultaneously. And with everything we think and everything we do, we are contributing our energy to one or the other, either that which is disintegrating or that which is being born. But I think particularly now at this juncture of Passover and Easter, there is very rich material that is offered us through the spiritual traditions, empowering us and enabling us to better understand what is going on and how we might play the most positive role in choosing a sustainable and joyous future for the human race. In a way, what's happening now is what's always happening, because the story of Passover and the story of Easter are both the stories of every life, of every system, and in a way of every moment. You begin with Passover, the fact that the Israelites were enslaved by the Pharaoh. And Moses appeared. God lifted Moses up, and Moses delivered his people. He led them through the desert, a 40-year journey, but they finally were delivered to the promised land. Easter, of course, the Last Supper was a Passover Seder. And Easter takes the story to the personal realm. Each of us is crucified, and through the power of God, we are resurrected. So you move from the Old Testament story of an entire people who are led by God through the journey to the promised land. And with Easter, the story of every human heart led from the crucifixions of lovelessness that we all endure and are delivered through grace and through God's love, just as God had lifted up Moses to a state of resurrection. Now, I understand that we're all excited about the world that is struggling to be born. I understand that we who are part of this global peace tribe, those of us, many of whom have known each other for so many years, watching Linda, watching Gary, watching all of you, it's so exciting. We're old friends. But I think in a way, the so-called spiritual transformational community that we all represent and have represented has failed to dwell deeply enough in the deep reservoirs of spiritual and religious information. And I say that because too often we skip the enslavement in Egypt and go right into the promised land. We skip the crucifixion and go right into resurrection. And when you kind of gloss over the crucifixion and go right into resurrection, you're actually not in transcendence, you're in denial. I mean, we should point out the irony of the fact that on this night, we are talking about the gathering of the global peace tribe, and there is no global peace movement in this world. We have the war in Ukraine. We have wars in Yemen. We have wars all over. We have war against the earth. The earth itself could, the IPCC report says that by 2070, if we go the direction we're moving in, there could be 700 million climate refugees. We are dealing with a war in Ukraine in which all of us are watching on television, watching the terror and the horrible things that are happening. And we know that we have this crazy man who has nuclear bombs. So the entire world is limited in what they can do to stop him. I don't think it takes away from the richness of our spiritual understanding. I don't think it takes away from our commitment to living in love for us to acknowledge those things. I think it strengthens, I think it gives gravitas, it gives power to our movement and to our lives for us to be the ones who do acknowledge, yeah, there's the cross before there's the resurrection. Yeah, there was the slavery before there was the journey to the promised land. But as a student of the Course in Miracles, the way it's put in the Course is it says God has a plan. And, you know, the Course is one statement of universal spiritual truth. We all know that, you know, they all say these things in their own way. But the way the Course in Miracles talks about it is in the midst of all this darkness, the midst of all the pain and the suffering of a wounded world, God has a plan. And the plan is the plan of the teachers of God. And the Course in Miracles says, who are the teachers of God? It says they come from all religions and no religion. They are those who have heard the call. And that the call goes out every single moment of every day. And that is the call that all of us hear. Be better. Come on, don't play this situation the way you played it last time it came around. Don't, you know, we're all wounded, but don't act from your wound. You have a choice here. Be brave, be strong, be intelligent, be noble. But the thing is, guys, it's not always easy, as Gary was saying. And not only is it not always easy in our personal lives, we have to acknowledge the resistance of our political systems, the resistance of our economic systems, the resistance of our entire global order to the creation of a sustainable world. The crucifixion is very real. The crucifixion of the species at this point. If we don't stop fossil fuel extraction, we are on a march to suicide. If we don't, if we don't draw down the manufacture of nuclear bombs, we are on a suicide march. Right now, America has 7,000 of them. Russia has 6,000 of them. They're already talking in the budget that both major political parties support. Over the next 10 years, another $1 trillion to be spent on them. The human race is insane. You know, that's what Gandhi said, that the problem with the world is that the humanity is not in its right mind. And we know that Krishnamurti said it's no sign of mental health to be well adjusted to an insane society. So when we talk about a global peace tribe, I believe, you know, it's just like Friday was Good Friday. When I went to work at a church in Detroit several years ago, you know, I'm Jewish, so I come to the whole Christ-centered consciousness as someone who didn't come at it from any of the religious doctrine or dogma as a student of the Course. So the whole idea of Good Friday, I didn't really even understand. But I was working at this church and they traditionally had this Good Friday service. And I didn't really totally understand Good Friday. It's the day of the crucifixion, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it's sort of my job to note it and hold a service. And as it turned out, that was really one of the most powerful days of the year for me. And when I was there at that church, that there was a day where we acknowledged, and this is hard. On this day, we acknowledge this is not easy. On this day, we acknowledge that the power of fear is rampant, just as is the power of love. And we're living right now. And it's important. What I noticed about that, doing those the Good Friday services, the Easter service had even more meaning. Had even more meaning. You don't leave out the slavery part and go right to, oh, it's the promised land. You don't leave out the crucifixion. You acknowledge it. You don't look away from it. You know, in the Course in Miracles, it talks about positive denial. If you don't acknowledge what's really wrong in the world, you're not living in transcendence. You're living in denial. The issue is positive denial. The positive denial is you look at the systems of the world, which are mitigated against the survival of the human race. We're not just talking about personal transformation here. We can't. Otherwise, we'll all be like these personally transformed people when the nuclear bomb drops. We have to think in terms of we have to think in terms of resurrection, in terms of global sustainable systems, because that's what this is all about. Remember, a new earth, not just a new you, not just a new me, a new earth, that we come together to be the new earth, the teachers of God all coming together. And as we do that, it's just like in the body. The human body has an immune system. Without a healthy immune system, the body can't survive. With a healthy immune system, the body can take a lot of injury, a lot of assault, a lot of sickness, disease. And if it's a healthy immune system, the immune cells are activated and they go to the wound and they know how to heal it. The psyche has an immune system. We can take a lot of trauma. We can take a lot of heartache. We can take a lot of upset. If we have a healthy mental structure, it's a psychic immune system. And civilization needs an immune system. And you and I have to see ourselves as the immune cells. It's a collective resurrection now. It's not just my resurrection that let's say I am no longer wounded in this area or that area or addicted or whatever. We all know about our personal crucifixions. But the whole point of going through the personal crucifixion is so that we can then collaborate with others in co-creating the collective resurrection. The collective resurrection at this point. Our traditional Christian friends like to talk about the apocalypse, right? And we all, read the Bible selectively, right? They do and we do. And they talk about the apocalypse like there's going to be this big war. And then at the end of the big war, there's going to be this 1,000 years of peace. Well, those of us who are metaphysical, we sort of don't like to talk about that chapter. But there's a metaphysical way of looking at that. And that's your divorce was your crucifixion. That was your apocalypse. Your having to get sober was your apocalypse. Your going bankrupt was your apocalypse. Your cancer diagnosis was your apocalypse. In other words, each of us have our personal crucifixions. Each of us have our personal apocalypse. And on the other side of that, we have gained wisdom. Just like when Gary said, I used to be one way, now I'm another way. There are enough of us now that can say, all right, I'm not a perfect enlightened master, but I'm sure as heck better than I was. So now, if enough of us take the wisdom that you gained from your divorce, you gained from your cancer, you gained from your bankruptcy, you gained from your getting sober, and we put all our wisdom together, we won't have to manifest a collective apocalypse. We don't have to. But we can. And if we continue down this path of collective unconsciousness, then it's reasonable to assume that we just might. Because there's no one out there who's going to come save us. There's someone in here who saves us if we allow that which is in here to come forth. And then we're living in positive denial. We look at what's happening in the world. That's a problem. And we say, I see you, but you have no power over me. I deny your power over me. I understand that there are forces on this planet. That's the most vicious ego right now, is a collective force. What is this unconsciousness that is allowing us to continue to do what we're doing to the earth when every scientist will tell you this is global catastrophe coming down the road if we don't change? There are so many things like that. And now, just like the cells in the body, the cells in the body, they collaborate. They don't compete, they collaborate. We have global systems that are based on competition. We must shift to collaboration. So as you gain wisdom, that's what we're all doing here tonight. Debra writes me, Debra writes Michael, Debra writes Gary. We all gather. And this is great because the Course in Miracles says an idea grows stronger when it is shared. But what I so wish for my tribe, which is all of us, this is my tribe. When I'm with you tonight, this is my tribe. I've been, like Debra said, we've all been at this together for years. Could we please not only talk about ourselves? Could we please? We are smart people. We are intelligent people. We should be weighing in on the great political and social and economic systems of the day. A lot of people, like in politics, they say, oh, what do you spiritual types have to do with anything? Excuse me, abolition arose from the early evangelicals in New Hampshire. And the women's suffragette movement arose from the Quakers, because these women were learning every day the Spirit of God is the same in every man, woman, and child. They want, then why can't we vote? And the civil rights movement was led by a Baptist preacher, Dr. King. All the great movements in American history have been led by us. It is an aberration that we sit this stuff out and only talk about personal transformation. We needed to talk about personal transformation because we needed to personally transform. And we're never going to stop needing to be on that path. But I think it's important that on this night, we not only point out we suffer from, I don't know about suffer, that we bewail the irony of the fact that there is no global peace movement, that the governments of the world, the economics of the world, the politics of the world are a global war movement. Gary was talking about Vietnam, et cetera. We're of a generation when there was a global peace movement. Large part of that had to do here in the United States with the fact there was a draft. I'm not suggesting we put a draft back, but it was all so immediate. It was your brother, it was your husband, it was your lover, it was your friend, it was your father, it was your son. Now we find it so convenient to just push it off to the side and not have to think about it. I think a lot of this is changing. People are seeing what's happening in Ukraine. We're not stupid. So tomorrow is Easter. Tomorrow is Easter. Because everything I just said about the crucifixion and about the problem is not the end of the story. The Course in Miracles says, look at the crucifixion, but do not dwell on it. If you dwell on it, then you do spiral down and you do become at its effect. You look at it, but do not dwell on it. But like I said, I found when I worked at that church in Detroit, noting it on Good Friday, it was power in that. And that in the midst of the slavery in Egypt, God lifted up Moses. That means he lifts us up. That's an aspect of ourselves. That in the midst of our crucifixion, we are lifted. That's an aspect of ourselves, but not just for ourselves. It's a tribe, but not just our tribe. It's convenient. We have a cozy, convenient thing. We've all known each other for years and we all love each other and we've all been at conferences and stuff. And I understand that. When Debra talked about my running for president, I wasn't used to being hated. I was used to this lovey-dovey field. We're all nice to each other. The worst that could happen is, and then I'm like, whoa. But we must go out there and forge it, because I do believe more people on this planet love than hate, but those who hate with conviction. The ego is suspicious at worst and vicious at best, and that is true on a global level as well as an individual level. So what I would like to complete with for my sharing tonight is, let us commit ourselves. Not just assume we're part of a global peace tribe, but know that it is our job to create a global peace tribe. The Course in Miracles says miracles arise from conviction. More people on this planet love than hate, but those who hate with conviction. I can't imagine a kind of sort of sometimes when it's convenient, committed terrorist. Too many of us are kind of sort of sometimes when it's convenient, committed to love. We have to be committed to love, not only in our own little way, but in terms of understanding what that means and its global implications, what it means in terms of people who are not in our neighborhood, what it means in people who are not part of our world. To answer the call, to be teachers of God, to know, okay, none of us are perfect, but we've all known each other for enough years. We're not perfect, but we're so much better than we used to be. Let's commit to each other tonight that we're going to join together, and each of us is going to be guided through our own internal systems. God's not going to tell me what you're supposed to do. God's not going to tell you what I'm supposed to do, but let's deepen our commitment to do what the voice for God inside us tells us to do and to stand with one another. That's what we're doing here. We stand with one another. We've known each other for years, but it's fun. We have to stand with each other even when it's not fun. We have to stand with each other even when it's not convenient. He says in the Course in Miracles, I don't need martyrs, I need teachers. I don't think we're being asked to be martyrs, but I do with all my heart believe that we're being asked right now on the planet, step it up. The era of data collection is over. So much of what we're talking about now, we all know. We've all read the same books. We've all listened to the same tapes. Now we have to have courage to own what we know. You didn't come to this program to learn something you don't already know. We come to these programs at this point to deepen our access to the things which by now we all already know. I spoke at Columbia University the other night. I love speaking at colleges and universities because these kids, they're not even 20th century people. They shouldn't live at the effect of bad ideas left over from the 20th century. They're young enough to still be dreaming. We need to harness the potential of those young enough to still be dreaming and old enough to now be wise. So I leave you with the same thing I said to these kids as I left. I said, remember, pray and meditate in the morning, kick ass in the afternoon. And so, if I may, let's pray together here on this eve of Easter. When a great mystery occurs, Easter is not just about one man's life 2,000 years ago, and it's not just one day of the year. It's about all of our lives, every moment when we are lifted from that cross. Because no matter what it was, the Course in Miracles says you were not created to be at the effect of lovelessness in yourself or in anyone else. The Christ in you, the love in you cannot be crucified. Your personality can, but the spirit in you cannot. Rise up by remembering who you are. Rise up by remembering why you're here. Rise up by just not sweating the small stuff, as Richard used to tell us. Rise up by remembering that you are literally God's ambassador on this earth. Rise up by looking at every other person and knowing that they have within them the same infinite potential that we all have. Rise up by our refusal to continue to coddle our neuroses and pathologies. Carl Jung said all neurosis is a substitute for legitimate suffering. Let's stop it with the small grade suffering. There's big suffering going on this planet. Too many of us have not been choosing to act from the place of our own grandeur. Sometimes from our grandiosity, but not from our grandeur. And to me, Easter, what a point of understanding. What a point of like, wow, if I forgive, I can rise above this. If I love, I can rise above this. If I just get over myself, I can rise above this. If I make it not about me, I can rise above this. If I'm just willing to be available to God, I can rise above this and I'll be shown what to do and I'll be shown who to do it with. If I'm just willing to be used by God, I too can resurrect and be part of this global resurrection, this global gathering of the Peace Tribe, knowing that I was here in programs like this, just so all of us could be reminded, because it's like a time release capsule. The real work is not just what's happening here tonight and in this program, but what happens when we leave here, having taken in all this amazing information. Better prepared, more willing to receive. And you know as well as I do, there will be moments and all of us will think back and go, I think that happened because I was part of that global peace tribe thing. I think that did something to me. So thank you for all of you who put it together. Thank you for giving me the honor of allowing me to speak into this listening that is my own tribe and has been my own tribe for the last 40 years. Let us share a vision, not only for ourselves, but for all the world. And let us rise. Dear God, as we join with billions of people around the world, dear God, on this holy, holy holiday of Easter, we consider with them the possibility that in the space of love, the chain of darkness, the chain of evil, the chain of suffering indeed is broken. That those who have risen above it rise in us as well. As we own, as we receive, as we prepare, as we make ready our hearts to remember who we are, to remember why we're here, and to pray, dear God, that you use us Glory, hallelujah. We praise that through the grace of God, we do rise. The whole world will rise as we make ourselves available on this holy night, that we ourselves might be used by God to help make it happen. Bless this event, bless each other. Let us take this moment to send our love to one another, to bless and give thanks to our hosts, to pray that every miracle needed by each of us shall now pour forth upon us, that a path of light shall be paved before us, that there shall be angels to our left and angels to our right, angels in front of us and angels behind us, angels above us and angels below us. And we shall not fear, for in any moment of confusion or doubt, we need but put out our hand as though a child to an elder brother, knowing that he will take our hand and guide our way. This is his day, and this is no idle fantasy. That which is holy and true, by whatever name, lives in us. And so it is. Together, we all say, Amen. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful to be here with all of you. Thank you. Thank you. Much love.
Marianne, before you go, of course, there's been dozens of comments, but I want to read two short ones to acknowledge our viewers and also to acknowledge the power of what you've shared. Josie Ann writes, yes, Marianne, I talk about slavery and crucifixion in my book on compassionate love for this very reason, to activate our goodness and kindness as teachers of God in our daily life with each other. And then one other person, Carolyn, wrote, Marianne, this is inspiring me to get back out there and keep on working towards a better planet. Okay, I'm ready to return to my students on Monday, refreshed and renewed. And what you said in this evening is helping me to get ready for the last part of this challenging school year. Maximum grace to us all. And she's a teacher of the New Earth. So just two of dozens of examples of your words inspiring us, and let's all take that. Let's all acknowledge whatever our personal apocalypse has been. That's such an important point. And let us all tomorrow on Easter, and whether it's Passover, however we see it, let us all resurrect into being the next stage of our divine service, the next stage of how God, life, wants to use me, you, each and every one of us, to make this great turning that humanity needs to make.
May it be so.
Marianne, by the way, has these wonderful daily lessons from A Course in Miracles. I've really enjoyed it. It's a great way to start the day. I think we all love to meditate, pray, and listen to A Course in Miracles with Marianne in the morning, and then kick ass in the afternoon and evening. And then maybe at the end of the night, listen to some more daily lessons with Marianne. It's a great course, and you can find this and all things Marianne Williamson at Marianne.com. Marianne.com. And Marianne, we are your family, and we do love you very, very much.
Right back at you. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
All right.
We are one. We are one. We are one. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. We are one. One love.
We are one love. Wow, what an amazing evening. My gosh, it's incredible, absolutely incredible. So we want to give some thanks and some appreciations. I want to thank those of you who have donated. And again, you can still continue to donate throughout the evening. That really means a lot to us. And we want to thank those people who have really come in as big supporters. For any of you who came in a little bit late, we're really excited about this wonderful new collaborating partner, Tanjila. And please make sure that you go and you check out her wonderful organization, Soul Search. Join right away. Of course, come on in through Global Peace Tribe if you wish. There's so many wonderful things that she's offering. So definitely go to soulsearch.io. And she'll be with me tomorrow for the Sacred Sunday show. And on the Sacred Sunday show, these amazing luminaries continue. Kristin Hoffmann is going to be our co-host. Cornflower will be with us. Chief Phil Lane, Carolyn Meese, and Andrew Harvey. It's going to be a very powerful, powerful time. And Tanjila will be with us as well. So thank you very much, Tanjila. And we are so excited about what you're bringing and offering.
Thank you so much. This has been such an incredible show. I mean, I think everyone is just overwhelmed by the amount of immense love and heart and beauty that was just created and shared by everyone. So it's just such an honor and privilege to be a part of your 2-year anniversary. Congratulations to you and Debra for all of your work putting this together and bringing the Global Peace Tribe together. And may we all continue to work together to bring this out into the world in greater and bigger ways. So thank you both, and excited to have all of you be a part of the Global Peace Tribe community in Soul Search so we can start co-creating together in many more ways. Let's see what's to come. I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanjila. We're going to hear from Debra in a moment. Debra, I did mute you just because we were getting that echo feedback thing. We want to thank the people that have sponsored our previous shows. And Wendy Grace, if you're here, I see you don't have your camera on, but Wendy, if you do turn on your camera, would love to just acknowledge you. You've been a really precious and important part of Saturday Night Alive. I also want to thank my good friend AJ and wholehearted.org, helping to bring people really important information about really some of our best teachers. And AJ just made a 1-minute video for us to show tonight, so here it is.
A person's past does not have to define their future.
So tonight, if you don't laugh, it's not because I wasn't funny, it's because you are broken.
It's not our behavior that defines our nature, but our needs that define our nature.
So if you go to wholehearted.org, and they have a great series of programs, just use the promo code GPT for Global Peace Tribe, GPT, and you can get a 25% discount on any of your programs. So thank you, AJ, and the whole team at Wholehearted. I really want to thank all of the people that helped to get us out to more people. And so let's start with John and Summer Raymer from the Sign Network. John and Summer were on The Awakening World last night, helping to celebrate this anniversary weekend. And the Sign Network is a wonderful way. And many of you right now are watching us because the Sign Network connected your Facebook group or page to this ongoing program. And of course, a big thanks to our friends at Unify. We reach more people through Unify than any other way, thousands of views every week. And there's Wendy Grace. She's turned on her camera. So I'm going to add her to the spotlight, and I'm going to bring Debra on. And Wendy, I was really excited when you saw that you were with us. Thank you for who you are in the world. You are muted, by the way, so we need you to unmute. Thank you, Wendy, for your poetry, for your support, and just for your presence in our world. And you are muted if you want to unmute, if you want to say anything. She's walking towards us. She's sitting
Wendy's
there.
been an amazing support for so many projects that I've been in, and really was there to help us continue the Global Peace Tribe, and it's here with us in spirit. So she really supports us on all levels, which I love and appreciate you, Wendy, very much.
Thank you.
Isn't this an amazing show? Us all coming back together again like this.
Wendy, is there anything you'd like to share? I know this is super spontaneous. If you have a poem you feel like sharing, or any word.
Poem, just like that. Oh my.
No pressure, no expectation, but if you feel so inspired, we love your poetry.
Okay, I will. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. What a blessing.
So this is words to the divine feminine, the texture of all life that really keeps us going, the sweetest nectar of the divine that encourages us then to stand up to what we face in the world. Our comfort, and which we want for all people. Okay, so it's a prayer to her. Hold me, Mother, in your sweetness. Wash me, Mother, with your prayer. Nourish me within your loving. Hold me in your pure desire. Holy Mother, I'm so grateful. Devotion is unveiling me to tastes exquisite of your presence. This hurting world so wants to see. Holy Mother, it's you I serve. Awake in you, I bow with ease. Make my life a living altar to the offspring of your peace. Make my life a living altar to the offspring of your peace. Oh, blessed eagle, blessed condor, fly together in the sky, unveiling now a path of union, opening in your love. Hold me, Mother, in your sweetness. Wash me, Mother, with your prayer. The earth will flourish, understanding your love holds answers for our cares. Holy Mother, I'm so grateful. You are unveiling me to taste exquisite of your presence with you, with you, with you, in you. We will always be. Make my life a living altar to the offspring of your peace. With you, Ma. We will always be. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Debra.
I've got it on gallery
Thank you,
view
all
for a
of you.
minute. Thank you. Wow. What a perfect follow-up to Marianne's message. Perfect. Your poem was perfect, Wendy. Absolutely perfect. And thank you for being willing to very spontaneously when we.
I was very spontaneous. The set and setting was not set up.
It's beautiful.
I love it. I love it. I love to be ragged and naked and whatever, you know, the poem comes through. It's wonderful. That's what my life is like, right?
The heart and the energy that is the magic.
Thank you for all you've done and how much you've grown and how much you've helped everybody who's been part of this grow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much more to come. Much more to come.
Can't wait.
Thank you, Wendy. We love you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
Wow. Debra, since we're running a little bit late and we've had some surprises, I'm suggesting we go with our friends that are here that are live and put the video of Marcy and Uttal a little bit later, but to go with kind of our friends like Swami and Fanny and Vigari and our live friends.
Sounds good. And I want to acknowledge a couple other sponsors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go for it.
So I do want to honor Mark Sims, who came on with us at the very beginning and helped sponsor all the incredible UFO galactic shows. He really helped us pull those forward with his financial contributions and his vision and his contacts. And we love him so, and we're giving him so much love and good juju now. Also, Tom Palladino was an incredible sponsor. He has laser healing, and we honor him and love him. And also Greg and Gail Hogue were also incredible sponsors with us. And Lori Grace, Wendy's sister, has been with us on many shows and been an incredible support. So I just want to honor everyone that has been there for us, and hopefully will be in the future, so we can continue on a major level that Scott and I tend to do.
And speaking of UFOs, I think you've got something pretty special to share, yeah?
Yeah, so what I've been doing is looking at what kind of special events we can have that take all the great information that we have and take it to the next level. So myself and Ellen Steinfeld are partnering to do this 5-part series of disclosure and the ET contact movement, the new realities of disclosure and cosmic awakening, making contact. Now, Alan has written this book, Making Contact, that has all the top UFO presenters, researchers, whistleblowers, scientists, experiencers, and we're going to have them live on the show, and it's going to be incredible information that's happening now, from disclosure to government insiders, and then really taking it to the next level. How does this impact our awakening, our cosmic awareness? Because we all know that the galactics, the higher galactics, are a big part of this awakening that's happening now. And we are evolving to be more like the higher galactics. So they have a lot to share, and we have a lot to share in this series. So we're going to be sharing, we're just finishing the touches on some really incredible people. Whitney Strieber will be there. He's confirmed. JJ and Desiree Hertak. We hope to have Linda Moulton Howe and a bunch of other people. And so watch Facebook and watch our newsletter where we put out all the information. And it'll be in May and June. And Alan will come on in the after show and he can give more information on it.
All right. And I know that Debra and I also wanted to encourage everybody that there's another wonderful way you can support us. And that is anybody who shops through Amazon. Yeah, you and you. Oh, I know you do. And you definitely do. So those of you who shop at Amazon, do us a favor. Utilize the Amazon Smile program and we get a percentage. And boy, it adds up. I mean, boy, Amazon's fast. Like you order and 5 minutes later, they're knocking on the door, dropping it off these days. So please do it. It's pretty easy. Just go to amazonsmile.com and choose Unify the World. That's our nonprofit partner, Unify the World. And you know what? It adds up. I know, seriously, I order, because I live in a pretty remote area, I get a lot of my stuff through Amazon. So that's a wonderful way that you can support us. And so wanted to definitely mention that to you. Thank you.
And one more major sponsor I want to acknowledge again, even though we did, is Jay Mayer.
Absolutely.
He was an incredible support along with Jan, and he's going to be in the after show and share a bit more on that. So wanted to mention, just stay. Hey, Jay, love you, love you. Thank you so for your undying support, both of you.
Absolutely.
Honor that.
Yep. Thank you very much. So thank you to our past sponsors and welcoming in the future sponsors so we can keep moving this forward. Thank you so much. I think it's time for some comedy, and to introduce that, here's Debra.
This is another longtime community member who's been at it, sharing the truth, sharing the light, but through humor. On what is not the best way to take your medicine of what's going on in the world, but through laughing. It is so healing. And Swami is so punny and so witty, and we just love him. And he's been on our show many times now. So we invited him. He was also a yes. So thank you, Swami, for joining us tonight and bringing amazing medicine.
Well, thank you. It is wonderful to be here. And, you know, the Global Peace Tribe is my kind of spiritual group, strictly non-dominational. Very, very important. I really appreciated Marianne's message to remind us that we need to use the ideal to deal with the real deal. And the whole idea of awakening world, that is a great idea, because either we will have an awakening or there will be a wake. It's been very difficult to sleep through the alarm, I'll tell you that. And during these times, during the past couple of years, I think what we've learned, alone and together, regardless of what is happening out there, we have a choice, and our choice is in here. We have responsibility. We have the ability to respond with love or in fear. And the good news is love is more powerful than fear. Otherwise, we'd be singing, all you need is fear. Well, maybe as Matt Kahn and Gary Zukov would suggest, we need to be singing a new tune, love the fear you're with. And if we're able to metabolize that fear by loving it, then we can move from the fear-based state of emergency to the love-based state of emerge and see. Emerge from the identity issues and recognize the identity issues, the identical issues that unite us. The identity issues can keep us separate in separate compartments, but the identical issues like clean air, clean water, clean food, clean government, I call it the Great Reset. The Great Reset, where the coherent heart of humanity can set a new standard. We achieve humanifest destiny, where humanity becomes humankind, and the currency we share is human kindness. Then we need to emerge from fear-based scarcity, where we are afraid there's not enough, to love-based abundance, where we know that there's more than enough. Abundance is where we get up off of our assets, move our buns, face the music, and dance together. Love or fear? From this choice point, we can handle just about everything. Because before we can address climate change, we have to address political climate change. We need to cultivate warmer hearts, cooler heads. You know, a number of years ago, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, there was a story off the coast of Florida. There were some swimmers who were caught in the riptide, and they were being drifted out to sea. And the bathers on the beach, they made a human chain and pulled these other people to safety. I call that a tug of peace. So instead of the tug of war that has been pulling us apart for so long, we need to cultivate a tug of peace where we all pull together in the same direction. We do this, we won't need homeland security. We will have heartland security, because our true security is in the land of the heart. It'll help us get off the old battlefield and onto a new playing field, thrival for each and all. And the sign of the great uprising is when all of the isms become wasms, a thing of the past, because the truth is beyond belief. Truth lives in the heart, beliefs lie in the head. And we sure don't need any more lies in our head, that's for sure. So we can choose to live in the unity of the heart and experience oneness. We're all one with the same one, the universal oneness. The universe has us surrounded, might as well surrender. And the new mantra, each of us is totally unique, just like everyone else. If I'm one, you're one too. So remember, people, we are not here to earn God's love. We're here to spend it. Let's go for heaven on earth, just for the hell of it. Swami Beyondananda, namaste, and namasko. Goodbye.
Well, before you go, just want to remind everybody that we can wake up to Marianne doing Course in Miracles, or we can wake up laughing. And these are both wonderful ways to wake up. And wakeuplaughing.com is where you can find lots of wonderful Swami and also his alter ego, Steve, who's a pretty bright guy. So Swami or Steve, is there anything you want to especially point out that Swami or Steve are up to that we should know about?
Oh, yes. There's a new podcast with Steve called Front and Center, Off the Political Battlefields onto the cooperative playing fields. You can find it as Front and Center with Steve and Michael. It's on YouTube, it's on Stitcher, it's on Apple Podcast, and it's on Rumble. So many ways to find this new podcast where we actually want to write our new story together finally.
Great. Love you, Steve. Stick around. We've got a great after show coming up. So we're going to, in a moment, conclude the main show, and we will get to our after show guests. And we've got an amazing after show. We've got Omashar playing music live. We've got Fanny and Vigari, the Mystiques, playing music live. We've got Jay and Jan, who are going to do light touch and a prayer. Then we've got some beautiful videos, including Grandmother Flordemayo, and possibly, depending on timing, a couple of other special things. So please stay for the after show. We're going to close this with a little video, but I'm going to bring Debra back on. Debra, any final words you'd like to share?
Love. There was a lot of love, a lot of wisdom. It's just beautiful tonight. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We're going to send the replay out on Monday, so please send the replay out. Let your friends see it. There was, the TwinRays and Kristin was awesome. That was epic. Just even sharing that will bring a lot of light to people. So please share the replay, and please come back again, and please tune in to all the other things that we're going to offer. And again, we love you and appreciate you so much. Thanks for all the presenters who stepped up and were with us tonight.
And thank you, Debra, for all you did to make this an amazing evening, an amazing weekend. So thank you very, very much. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And hopefully we'll see all of you tomorrow morning. Kristin Hoffmann, Chief Phil, Debra, Cornflower, and some really special surprises. So please do join us tomorrow night, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern, for the Sacred Sunday show, that final edition of this weekend of the Awakening World. And also want to just mention that next week, it's Earth Day weekend. And so we're collaborating with Robin Stryker. We've got a great series of speakers, as always, coming, and a really special after show. Robin has written a screenplay, And we're going to have a special reading with professional actors of her screenplay. And that's kind of a first thing. You know, we're always trying new things we haven't done before. So definitely all sorts of amazing Earth Day speakers. But then we're going to have a special reading of Getting Back to Jane. And that's going to be next week's after show. My dog is so excited about it. You can hear her barking. So with that, we have a really wonderful video. I've only shown it once before on The Awakening World. And it was put together by Johanna Beekman. Johanna is also one of our favorite musical artists. She was on the show last week. And I've always had a fantasy of meeting Paul McCartney, thanking him for all that he's done, but saying, you know, Paul, I wish you would change one lyric. Instead of all you need is love, which really isn't true. We need more than love. We need, like Marianne was talking about, dedication, kick ass. We need more than love. But we want to do it all with love. We want to do it all with love. And so Johanna heard what I said. She put together the special song, and then we've edited in some of the images of some of our wonderful members of the Global Peace Tribe. So I think this is a nice way to close out the main part of our show tonight.
Love, 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 love. Love is everything. Love is everything. Love, 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 love. Love, love, love. Love, 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 love. Love, love, love. Oh, oh, oh. Nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. Do everything with love. Do everything with love. Do everything with love. Love. Love is everything. Nothing you can make that can't be made. Nothing you can save that can't be saved. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. It's easy. Yeah. Do everything with love. Do everything with love. Do everything with love. Love. Love is everything. Love is everything. Love is everything. Yeah. Love is everything. Love is everything.
Just like Debra said, you know, when I asked final words, Debra's final words were love. And just seeing just a few of those people, look at how many people have graced us on Saturday Night Live now in the Awakening World. I think we've had something like 200 presenters, and each and every one of them is such a beautiful emanation of the one eternal beloved. So again, we are going to go to the after show next, and let me get us ready, because there's a kind of a fun video that Jay put together. We haven't pulled this out since the last time Jay was on the after show, so we're going to start with that.